Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I'll be talking about my impressions from the Final Fantasy XVI demo, as well as general information about the game, how I'm feeling about it just before release. It's coming out at the time of recording in literal days. So I'm really looking forward to it following the release, and in my opinion it's probably one of the best demos ever.
Ready?
What do you think?
Firstly, to give you the short version, the demo is amazing. It's likely one of the best demos I've ever played. I mean, who makes demos anymore? We don't really get demos anymore. It's actually refreshing to play an amazing demo that makes you want the game more before release. I feel like publishers feel like, well, if people get to play it before they buy it, they won't want to play it and they won't want to pay for it. So that as a change is fantastic. Now, the main story, at least early on, the narrative isn't told purely chronologically. We jump from different perspectives and different time periods at the beginning of the game. The game starts off with this epic confrontation between Phoenix and Ifrit. We're not given any context. You get a short voiceover introduction and then you're straight into it. From there, we move on to Clive, who's the main character, the character that you'll see on the cover and on the load screen before you start the game. In the demo, we don't really get a lot of gameplay early on. It is mostly just world building and story. You're able to press a button and then sort of press the touchpad and tap into more lore, which is contextual to what's happening, sort of like X-Ray on like Amazon Prime or something like that. What the story does establish initially is that this isn't like previous Final Fantasy games. This game is way more darker and way more mature. It's got an M rating and it uses it. Early on, there's a lot more foul language and a lot more mature language, but at the same time, it manages to pull it off without seeming overly edgy or cringy, which is quite difficult to do, actually. I really enjoyed the gameplay. There's no traditional difficulty modes of easy, medium, hard, etc. There is one difficulty, and then you are given various items which will augment the gameplay. So one of those items will just literally auto dodge for you. You will dodge everything near enough, as long as it would have still been possible for you to have pressed the button and dodged. There's a second one which expands the dodge timer, so you have an even broader range to dodge. You'll notice that it's the same button and the same prompt that you get for the cinematic dodges that you get in some cutscenes and sections of boss fights, but it allows you to do that in normal gameplay. There's also one that lets you have Torgal, your wolf/dog companion, who will join you in combat later in the game. You'll see that in the iconic challenge. You're supposed to manually give him orders to heal or to attack a certain enemy. One of those accessories will just automate that for you, and you don't have to think about that. I really like this because what happens in some games is that the difficulty, it feels like it's made for one specific difficulty. This is the actual difficulty. This is the way we've made the game. And then everything from there is either we make the AI very stupid and they just have a lot of delay. Like you can stand in front of them and they won't attack you for like 3 seconds, giving you time to go, oh, I can attack this guy. Or it's stupidly hard by just giving everyone triple HP, giving everyone just tons of damage where they two-shot you. This makes the core gameplay feel very enjoyable, but then people who find it more difficult can ease that off. Now, what you're going to have is that some people are going to find the base game easy. It's not a real obscenely difficult game. But what they've added is there's a new game plus, and in that new game plus, what you're able to do is you're able to select Final Fantasy mode. This is an increase in difficulty, but not just like how I mentioned by just increasing damage values and HP, etc. Someone has gone through the game and sort of remixed the game. So you'll get to certain parts in the game. An example they gave was on a bridge that you find in a dungeon, there are some enemies and they've got like an officer enemy, like a captain who's bigger than the others and he's more difficult to fight. In Final Fantasy mode, you're still going to get those extra enemies, but now it's an Iron Giant, like a much larger, much more dangerous enemy with different attacks and different things that it will do in that fight. So that whole encounter on Final Fantasy mode is different. It's not just the same mode. It's not just the same gameplay experience, but with more HP and more damage. It is actually a new encounter that will have to be approached differently. Now, I've been pretty light on details in terms of the story, other than I generally enjoyed it. It's much more mature. It has some quite brutal moments that I don't want to say enjoyed, almost they were very brutal, but they certainly grabbed me. One of the reasons why I really like this demo is that it sets things up so well. It doesn't just leave, it leaves you on a cliffhanger, but it doesn't just leave you at a weird point where you're like, oh, they want you to pay for this next part. No, they give you the goods, and they give you a real strong reason to buy this game. Now, obviously, it's only on PS5 at the moment. A PC version will likely come at some point in the future. There is a 6-month exclusivity. That exclusivity is likely going to be functionally longer, even though it's technically over 6 months. They're probably going to take longer to actually do it, to hopefully get it right. I mean, the Final Fantasy VII remake on PC wasn't great. So it's either going to be around a year and it's going to be comparable to that, or it's going to be probably even longer, but hopefully a better PC version overall. The gameplay has a lot of promise. They've not just approached this by themselves. Obviously, Creative Business Unit 3, the element of Square that made this game, they make Final Fantasy XIV, which is much more of a tab target game. So they brought in expertise in terms of hiring Ryuta Suzuki, who worked for Capcom previously and worked on games like Devil May Cry 5, Monster, and various other games, mostly action games that Capcom have made in the past. They've also sought external help from Platinum Games, as well as internal help from the Kingdom Hearts team. So I feel like they have all the tools from a gameplay standpoint to make this an amazing game. My feelings from the demo so far, that it looks very promising. Of course, we won't really know how good that is until we have the game in hand. Thankfully, that is very soon. I will be playing again, and I'll be playing on stream as well as posting gameplay to YouTube. But I will try, after a couple of days, get a video out with my impressions once I'm about 10 hours or so into the game, so I've played much more of it.
I'd heard rumors that you'd survived.
Lord Rosfield, I've been looking for you for a very long time.
I'll tear you apart with my bare hands!
Try it.
Now die!
Thank you so much for watching this video. This is a very new channel. I have no subscribers at the moment at the time of this video. So if you really did sit and watch all this video, I'm really thankful. If you could drop me a subscribe, a like, anything helps a lot, and it gives me the confidence and the enthusiasm to keep making these videos. So until about a few days from now, when I'll have my next video, hopefully, I'll see you then.